Finally, you caught me. You finally caught me. But it could not hold me very long, because the power of the blood of the Lamb is very true and trustworthy. I will tell you many stories, as much as Yahweh, our Creator, will let me tell you, on how I got free on every occasion. The work here can be found, the results of what our Creator has done with this life He's blessed me with. This is my service to the body of Messiah. It's worldwidewidow.com, and trinityisdark.com, and Rumble, and the account name is Highlighter. What I have to show to you is a spider had bit me after a witch put a curse on me, but she didn't have no power unless our Father gave it to her. This spider here is a match to an idol in all of the world. I'm talking about the world system. Our Messiah, He says to come out of the world, and the world has this idol, and here it is. This is the idol that matches the spider that bit me. It has 8 legs, and it has a chevron here. You can see that on the website, Trinity is Dark. It's a photograph of a real spider. The testimonies of Yahweh are very powerful, and I hope and pray that I'm patient to do a better job. This is why I am in the city that I'm in, is this right here. This right here is at this address right here. I thought Yahweh sent me to the city to reveal His glory, which He did clearly. But also, it's not, the gifts is not for me. He's not here to please me. He has a purpose. And He's been kind to give me a second chance. I will tell you as much as I can that His powers be seen. The spider that I have here is our Creator is foretelling the future using the spider. And I have a note, Isaiah 48 verse 3. He declared things in the beginning. He foretold the future before they happened. Isaiah 48 verse 3. Before they happened. And I'm seeing this here unfold. If you are not part of the body of Messiah, then this right here is going to be your interest to understand what this is. This building is at this location on Park Avenue and 8th Street, because Peter Parker took pictures of the spider that has 8 legs. Park Avenue and 8th Street. And what will you find here? This building here is on Park Avenue and 8th Street. And by this I know that Yahweh our Creator had predestined me to be here to reveal His glory and to reveal His powers that we can trust in. This is a red chevron right here. And there's 8 bricks here on each side. That's, you see? There's 4 here and 4 here. That's 8 and V. A chevron. Like this. our Father, His works are very great. And this symbol here I'm showing to you from the spider was recently seen when I did a review, a 4-hour review on the film, on films and media. This spider, this idol, is in our films. And here is from the movie called They Live. And this year I'm 54 years old. Excuse me. And right here is Cable 54. As I was doing the review on the films, and as I was doing the review on the film They Live, and They Live is a movie from 1998 where the guy puts on glasses and he's able to see things that are hidden. But Messiah Yahshua is my seeing device, and because of him, I was seeing these idols. And I'm 54 years old this year, and I seen Cable 54 while I'm reviewing this film. And when I went to film school in Santa Fe, my teacher, she's 54. And that's two connections with film. And Yahweh is glorified greatly because of this. Here's the idol that's seen in the film. Right here is an X and a V shape. That's 8 and 3, 8 and V. And on top of that, Yahweh showed to me that the spider matched my symbol here from Tibetan Buddhism. I will get into these details probably in the next video. But I want you to see that I was once a Tibetan Buddhist, and this will be seen later more clearly. This is the Dharma Chakra, and the Dharma Chakra has an 8-spoke wheel, and right below it is three points. It got moved actually from here, and they put it down further, so you can still see down further at the bottom is 3 little circles, which it should be on the left and the right and the top and right here, but it's not here on the bottom. They pushed it down so you can see 3. I know the spirit very well. It's 8 and 3. This is who has sent me. Yahweh, our Creator, has sent me with these words. Shamar del Tot Israel. Shamar del Tot Israel. Watchman of the doors of Israel. I looked at this, and he told me to tell them who sent you. And he says to take the letter D and turn it upside down. And I turn it upside down. And that way I know that Yahweh is a spy. He sees everything. He has honored me and blessed me to live this life where I'm able to see things to fulfill the prophecies of our Messiah, who is a watchman, and we are in his likeness. We have gifts to use, and I'm doing my best to use them, and I hope that you see his glory. Because if you see me and my problems and my struggles, you're not going to see our Maker. Look at the works that he does. And it's by his Spirit that you'll know what is true. This ministry is a ministry of the prophets based on scriptures in Hosea 12:10. It says, I have also spoken by the prophets, and I have multiplied visions and used similitudes by the ministry of the prophets. This is a ministry of the prophets because that's the spirit at work. It's not my spirit. It's not my effort. It's not my intelligence. This is a supernatural intelligence that's at work. The female black widow spider, I'm saying again, it's a similitude of Inanna. And Inanna is the goddess of the nations, and she's from Babylon. She's spread throughout all the world with very different names. But the root of our problem, it starts in Babylon. This image is in Jerusalem right now as I speak. So Israel, before they condemn other nations, need to get your idols out of your own land. I've seen it in your government, and then I'll see it in the states, and in your nation. Your nation is not set apart. If you look at the church of all nations in Jerusalem, this is what you'll find. You'll find a match to my Tibetan Buddhism in the churches. In the church of all nations in Jerusalem, on the Mount of Olives, right here is a cross, which is the number 8. There's a cross and 2 deer, because they have one mind. Yahweh's blessed me greatly, and I want you to know that the testimonies I have from Tibetan Buddhism exposes and reveals that the spirit in the Roman Catholic Church is the same spirit in the Tibetan Buddhism. The number 8, the octograms, the Trinity. That's right. The triad religions, the Trinity religions of all the nations, they're all matching up. They all have a mother. And Inanna is the mother of harlots. And Yahweh showed to me her name is in the world. This information I'm not fearful to share, because I trust Yahweh completely, so that I don't have the fear to speak to you or to speak to anybody. I don't have the fear that I'm going to be an accuser of the brethren. If I had that kind of fear, I'm not fit for this job to represent my Maker and His Messiah and to share His words. He has my complete trust, and He's shown me His power, that I would fear and trust Him only. That way I can speak to Him. I have a testimony like the Apostle Paul. The Apostle Paul was also a similitude. A similitude is something in the likeness. This is in the likeness of Inanna. Her gate has 8. It's the 8th gate of Babylon, the gate of Ishtar. All the world is going through her, number 8. Sunday, Sabbath, and her feast. Our Messiah, we call Jesus Christ of Nazareth, Yahshua, our Messiah. He is a similitude of Melchizedek, the priest. The Apostle Paul was flogged 5 times in 2 Corinthians 11:32. He praised Yahweh until the chains came off. Yahshua revealed His name to him on the road to Damascus. It's an epiphany he had. He persecuted Christians. I did all those things, and my testimonies, I'll share some of them, that Yahweh be glorified. We are not alone. The saints have suffered, but I want you to know that the testimonies that I have is the testimonies in the spirit of the ministry of the prophets. It's from that perspective that I'm sharing to you, because what I have is going to need some explaining to my leaders, that they would know why I am claiming that the idol of Baal is in all the world. It's a very big claim, and Yahweh supports me, and He'll support me and back up everything I say. He's very great. I've seen Him support me and back me up instantly. As I'm writing something, instantly, He'll hand to me whatever I need. And it's terrible and tragic that I've seen the movie Ghostbusters, and in Ghostbusters, there's a child that looks transgender. You can't tell if it's a boy or girl. You have to look and see and struggle to see it. Is that a boy or is that a girl? They fulfilled their goal to represent transgender in the film. And this child was receiving things, tools from the ghost. They were mocking, because that's what Yahweh does, and Yahweh alone does that. He is the one who shares tools and resources, whatever we need. This mask is not required. I want you to know there's nothing special about me that secretly needs to be revealed later. And this right here reveals the Antichrist, because with Jesus of Nazareth, Lucifer hides within in the wrong doctrine. I'll give you an example of the Roman Catholic Church. They claim that he is God, but secretly they want to take the mask off and later discover he's Lucifer, and they will continue to serve him anyway. It's very dangerous. When I was born broken. I fell from my crib when I was a baby. I couldn't walk till later. My first dream I had, I was, 10, 11 years old. I remember a dream. And it's just amazing that our Creator let me to remember that. The dream was a big white house, and me and my sister was in the house, climbing on top of the house, inside the room, and I was grabbing some oatmeal cookies off of the refrigerator, and was sneaking down because the house was catching on fire, while my mother was downstairs talking to some social worker, and Yahweh's showing to me that this is the enemy that come to take us away. And recently, I found out that my mother, her favorite snack was oatmeal cookies, and I did not know that as an adult. I knew that in the dream only, but my siblings told me because they were around her, and they knew her favorite snack was oatmeal cookies. Yahweh foretold the future right there. He revealed his power, and that's what I trust in. When I was about 8 or 9 years old, early before 10, I was not yet 10, I don't think. And I remember that all of my siblings, there were 6 of us, all together in the courtroom, and I was looking right there at the judge, and they took us all away, took the family away, and put us all in foster homes. Next thing I know, I remember knocking on the door. Me and my sister were knocking on the door of a liquor store to borrow their phone. So now I'm an orphan. I'm not alone, of course, and I want you to know that I don't put my suffering above or below anybody. We are all in this together. Everybody has a measure, and whatever we have is for Yahweh's glory and him to be seen, his glory. And I praise my Maker. I'm telling you now, I'm on the floor on my knees praising my Maker because of these things that's happened to me, because I know that he is sovereign and he is in control, and he's the one who's done it. And when you come to that realization, you'll be set free. And Yahweh will keep you free because you respect, you fear, and honor his sovereignty. And this is where our freedom is at. And of course, his son, definitely, most importantly, is part of that plan of his sovereignty. So here I am with my siblings. One of my sisters was rescuing me from foster home. My brothers, my sisters, I'm the youngest, so they're protecting me and my other brother and each other, trying to protect each other. The big bird was put on him to keep me alive, and they were beating my feet. I had a onesie, like a jumpsuit, onesies is for toddlers. And they're beating on toddlers. And they're saving me from that. Later in life, I went to a children's home for orphans, and they were Christian people from Alaska. Next thing I know, they're hitting me in my back with the oar on the edge, not the flat end, the edge, and just hit me, being very brutal about the matter. But Yahweh says, I'm taught very well. I'm telling you now that if I was not taught well, and if I was not ready to sit here and speak to you, I would not be here to speak to you. I thought there's no hope as a child, as many children, orphans, there's so many. I've seen suffering. I was a Tibetan Buddhist, and they are very boastful. They are boastful about their righteousness. And one thing I've done as a Buddhist is to go to the cemeteries and meditate on death. In Bonpo and Buddhism, this is what you do. Depends on who your teacher is and who you're following and what your objective is. But to contemplate impermanence and death and suffering is part of Buddhism, because that's what the Buddha did that supposedly helped him to become awake. And yes, I said awake, because all these people that are rainbow colors, that didn't come from you, that came from Buddhism. The rainbow body belongs to the Buddha, but not him alone. Our Creator made the rainbow. The world is worshiping things that our Father made. And in Buddhism is awake. You become awake. You awaken your mind. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know whoever you are that's listening, if you follow this data and you see that idol in the world, you'll become awake. And you'll become awake to see that Lucifer is the God of this world, and Lucifer is ruling the churches, the state, the government, and all the world. But I'm going to tell you right now, they said to Jesus, we have power to crucify you. We have power to kill you. And what did Jesus say? No, you don't. You don't have no power to kill me. Read it in 1 John 19:11. He says, you have no power unless it's been given to you from above. Our Father is sovereign, and it's hard to not to be fearful, because we need to trust him and to know that truly he is in control. This is why we have to remain humble right now at this time. A Christian woman got shot in the face because she rebuked him in the name of Jesus. I heard this news today, but I want to tell you right now, we have to be silent when we're confronted with the enemy. Be silent. Don't argue with the authorities, because Yahweh is with you and he is greater. And if we act out without humility, he will destroy the things around you in order to preserve you and keep you for his purpose and his plans. If he's done with his plans with you, that's a different matter. But if our Father has plans to use you and to keep you and use you for his purpose and his plans, they're not fulfilled yet. And if you act out the wrong way, he will defend you. But do not act out the wrong way in front of the enemy. We will be judged for that as well. I have testimonies where I was counting the dead bodies because Yahweh wanted to keep me alive. He decided to keep me alive and not them, because he didn't send them to do his purpose. He sent me to do his purpose. And I speak not with pride. I speak with humility. I speak with truth. That our Father will keep you and preserve you for his purpose. Do not fear them. Fear our Maker, because he gives us air to breathe. As a child, I felt broken. I felt lost, an orphan. I'm on the street running around. At the same time, I got a 13-year-old sister in Chicago on the streets. I didn't know that till later in life, how hard it was for her. And so here I am in the children's in Oklahoma City at the children's shelter. So I'm in the children's shelter, and next thing I know, I got a rope around my neck. There ain't no reason to live, not like that. Actually, there's a sheet around my neck, and I stand on a chair. And it took me away from my mother and my family. Why should I live? But I told him, put the chair back. There's somebody there with me. Put the chair back. So they transported me in the children's hospital in the skywalk. We walked from one building to another building. And as I was laying there, I'm healing as a child, mentally troubled by all the trauma. Yahweh didn't put that trauma on me. Ultimately, he's in control, but the enemy, when I say something about the enemy, know that I'm saying that Yahweh, in Isaiah 45, verse 7, he does it all. I create lightness and I create darkness. I do it all, says Yahweh. He gives authority to the enemy. And when judgment comes, it's because they've crossed their boundaries, like they did with me as a child. And others in the world, crossing boundaries. So I laid there and looked out the window. But it's during this time that the Incredible Hulk and Spider-Man were playing their shows back to back on Saturdays back in the 70s. Not the cartoon, the real deal. It's not animated. Lou Ferrigno and the whatever Spider-Man. And I looked at them every Saturday. When I go to the shelter, I run away from the shelter, or whatever happens, me and my sister would come back to the shelter. Eventually, she helped me break out and escape. And that was a joy that one of my sisters came for me when I was in a shelter. It's like being in a prison, it seemed. So I had that in my mind of Incredible Hulk and Spider-Man. And so after I try to hang myself, I'm looking out the window and I'm imagining Spider-Man jumping on the buildings. And I prayed to Yahweh. I said, I'd like to be like that. I wish I was Spider-Man. And that's why I have this. I'm just a man, and I identify as a man. I don't identify as a spider. I identify as a child of Yahweh. And I'm a man just like anybody else. But he's given me a gift for me. And he's letting me get close to his enemies to share with you the dangers. In his ministry, I'm going to show to you the spider that bit Spider-Man, the spider that bit me, is a similitude of Inanna, and there's power in that because Yahweh's the one who made it. I'm not using no movies, no films to explain to you the truth of the world. I'm showing to you the power of Yahweh, who is in control of everything. Yahweh's taking possession of this. And I have a lot of data, unbelievable, and that data is a reflection of his sovereignty and his power. So as a child, I went to foster homes with my sisters and brothers, just like they did. And then my dad came for me and rescued me from Turley Children's Home when I was a child. I was about 15. Took me to Broken Arrow. And so while in Broken Arrow, I had a chance to go to the Civil Air Patrol. I remember at Turley Children's Home, there was people there that were involved in Civil Air Patrol. And I had a chance to do that in Broken Arrow. There's a place called Tiger Hill, a big old hill, which I burnt up with fire. And I took pictures of it with a stolen camera. I was taking pictures after I was playing around, burnt up the whole hill. Right below it is a National Guard Army. And Yahweh had everything set up for me. And so I pursued that. And then I flew to Albuquerque, New Mexico, where I'm at now, in a C-130 Hercules. I flew in with the Air Force Blues and a silver attache case, and I felt like Tom Cruise before I even knew about Tom Cruise. Yahweh did that to show me his glory and to honor me. And so I came to Albuquerque when I was 15. I had a chance to see many exciting things. And I remember the parking lot, because I'm in Old Town, New Mexico, and I'm lost. And that's a result of my brain injury from falling from my crib when I was a child. I got lost, and that's what happens. So I came back to Broken Arrow. I was excited about the Civil Air Patrol. I thought, well, I want to be in the Civil Air Patrol. I want to be like Buck Rogers, where I do martial arts and fly airplanes like Buck Rogers. And so I wanted to climb on things to get ninja skills, and I did that because back in the 80s, the ninja movies affected me just like today. The kids want to reenact Batman and reenact different heroes. I was reenacting ninja by climbing on things, and I was influenced by Spider-Man as a child when I was in the children's shelter. And I was scared of Batman. So I was jumping on buildings. I broke into buildings, climbing on buildings, going inside of them. I would go inside and rearrange the things. I was being sneaky, trying to be undetected. Eventually, later on, I broke into a home 3 times without being noticed to see if I could pass the test. Because if I got behind enemy lines where I'm at now, I needed ninja skills to survive. But I don't need ninja skills to survive. It's the Spirit of Yahweh. That alone will keep me, not my flesh. So while I was in Broken Arrow, I got into trouble as a child. I broke into a trailer of a United States veteran. And yes, I do regret stealing his guns. And I did steal his guns. And it's time for me to pay back now, America, with my love of the Father that's in me, and his purpose and his truth that some people can hear and be set free. Lucifer is a covering of light and goodness. We know that, but people are blind of it, and they sit right next to him without noticing. So with those guns I got, I didn't use them for the right way. One time I had 2 cowboy guns, 22 pistols, I went to the back of a parking lot of a church, and they caught me. I was car hopping. That was the thing back then. I was car hopping, just being nosy and sneaky. But they caught me. And when they caught me, I rebelled, and I pulled my guns at them. I didn't shoot nobody, but I did that. And then later, I hid the guns because I was scared, and I'm not a person of violence and hurting people, but I got rid of the guns. And then I went to a store and to get a toy Uzi, and now I'm in another church, inside the church, and a preacher catches me, and I'm running in the hallway, and I jump up, do a flying kick, and I got my gun. That's what the movies do. The movies influences you. And so now he gave me $2. That's what he had. He's very kind to me. Bless his soul. The pastor gave me $2, even though I was trying to rob him with a toy Uzi. My next door neighbor were two Messianic women from Israel. They invited me over. My dad introduced me to them. They were two sisters, and they're singing Jewish music, and I didn't know anything about that stuff. I was bricklaying as a child with my dad and uncles, and the money I used, I bought, first I bought some toys, action toys, but later I bought martial art books, Japanese history, samurai history, armor, ninja books, all this stuff. And I had a whole bunch of them, over 100, 150, 200. And I have a childhood friend, and we trained together. So that's what was happening in my life in the 80s there. But my neighbors I was invited to were Messianics. The spirit in me was geared towards Buddhism, the Eastern culture. It didn't want anything to do with Israel. So I snuck over there one day, and I had a ninja sword or a machete or something like that. Not a real one, but some kind of machete. And I went to terrorize him. There was a plant hanging up, and I hit the plant, the rope, and it cut the rope, and then I hit the pot. I was testing out my skills. I tried to do it in two strikes. And I was 15. And so I found out later that one of the sisters had died. And today I believe that Yahweh had used me. Of course he did. But later I became a Tibetan Buddhist. And while I was a Buddhist, I would do my geography and look at the map of the world. I'm going to tell you the truth. I did not know nothing about Israel, and my heart and my spirit in me would avoid Israel at all costs. I would go around Israel. I'm studying Japanese history. Matter of fact, later on, I'm teaching Japanese history to some people in my group. I was teaching the history, the geography of the islands of Honshu, Shikoku, and the history of the samurai. What I knew, what little I knew about the geography and some history. And so our Father is glorified that I know that the spirit in me was the spirit of the world that hates Israel. I'm going to stop here because I want you to know and to hear that this is the city, it's Albuquerque, and this is where I came when I was a child, when I was 15 years old. And I know that our Father sent me here. This address right here, the building I'm living in, is the same colors of the female black widow spider. There's a list that needs to be seen, and I hope that I can write that out on the website, and not the video, but to let you look and see the list of things. Yahweh verifies his servants. I don't have to put no effort into verifying, like to prove to you that Yahweh sent me, unless for example, except for this city here. It's my job to make a list or to present to you reasons why I believe that Yahweh sent me here, and that will come later in the future. Right now, I want to show to you the first part of my testimony, that I too was like the Apostle Paul, persecuting Christians, that I had rebelled and rejected our Maker, did not know our Maker. When I was a child, my mother would pinch me at church when I fall asleep. She did it to all of us. I'm the youngest in the family, and I remember the times when she would do that. I was baptized in the Baptist church a couple times, and baptized in the Church of Christ a couple times, married in the Church of Christ. I'm not a stranger to the churches, but this here will come later in the next testimony. I pray that Yahweh will bless you, and I pray that you see the next couple of videos, because these are the testimonies of Yahweh, and they're very great. If I had the patience, I'll be able to present things more clearly, because my job is to get the words in order. Before I go, I want you to know that there did not work very well for me. I tried. The Spirit of Yahweh has delivered me and kept me safe. Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith Yahweh of hosts. I hope to get into this when I share my testimonies of practicing the Dharma, the law, which is in Tibetan Buddhism. And I pray for patience, and I pray that you be patient as well. May you see the glory of Yahweh our Maker, to trust Him and fear Him only, and to be humble in the presence of the enemy. I'm not good at that, but I know the way, so that others will live and others will be protected, and that our Father will be able to be seen through us. A Messiah is formed in you, formed in all of us, and that's what they need to see. Shalom to you.